Hello and welcome to Basement 13, the place where we dive into the mysterious, creepiest, and weirdest real-life stories. We are so excited you are here with us today. When we asked you on social media, what story do you want us to cover first? One story popped up again and again. It was the Amityville Horror. Yeah, you heard that right. Today, we are taking you to a little quiet town called Amityville in New York. A beautiful, sleepy town, hiding a chilling secret. At the heart of it all is a house. Not just any house. A big white house at 112 Ocean Avenue. It has big windows that almost look like eyes staring at you. It has a pretty lawn. It looks perfect. But trust me, it's not. The story begins in 1974. A young man named Ronald DeFeo Jr. lived there with his family, his parents and 4 siblings. From the outside, they looked like a happy family. They laughed. They had dinners together. They waved to neighbors. But inside, something was breaking. One cold night in November, Ronald did the unthinkable. He picked up a rifle. He walked into each bedroom, and he ended the lives of his entire family. Mother, father, brothers, sisters, all gone in one single night. When the police found out, the town of Amityville froze in shock. This wasn't just crime. This was pure horror. But wait, let's slow down a bit. Let's go back. Who was Ronald DeFeo Jr., and what led to that night? Ronald, or Butch, as some people called him, wasn't just an ordinary guy. He grew up in that very house. Since he was a kid, people said he was a little different. Quiet, angry sometimes. His father was strict, very strict. Fights between Ronald and his father were common. Shouting matches, broken doors. Neighbors sometimes heard the yelling from the street. As Ronald grew older, things got worse. He started staying out late, getting into trouble, hanging out with the wrong people. There were rumors, drugs, drinking, bad friends. The house, the very place that should have been safe, felt heavy for Ronald. It felt like a prison, a trap. Something dark hung in the air. People say he wasn't alone with his anger. Some even believe. The house itself whispered to him. Whispering sound effect, very faint, like "do it" in the background. No one knows for sure. Was it just Ronald's broken mind? Or was it something else? Something living inside the walls of 112 Ocean Avenue? And so, that horrible night happened. A whole family wiped out. But the story doesn't end there. Not even close. Because 1 year later, a new family moved into that house. George and Kathy Lutz, and their 3 kids. They thought they found their dream home. Big rooms, beautiful yard, friendly neighborhood. They had no idea what waited for them inside. Soft wind, howling sound effect. And trust me, their nightmare was just about to begin. At first, it felt like a dream. The kids ran around laughing. The sun shined through the big windows. George and Kathy smiled at each other. This was their fresh start. Their big, beautiful, perfect home. But it didn't take long for the dream to start cracking. On the very first night, the dog, Harry, started barking like crazy. He barked at a corner of the yard where nothing was there. His fur stood up. He growled deep in his throat. George tried to calm him down. "There's nothing there, buddy," he said. But Harry refused to move. The next few days, weird things kept happening. The family noticed cold spots in the house. Even when they turned up the heat, some rooms stayed freezing cold. You could see your breath in the air. Doors opened and closed by themselves. Lights flickered, even when no one touched the switches. Strange smells, like perfume, then like something rotten, floated in the air. Sometimes the family would feel like they were being watched. George started to change. He was a fun, easygoing man before, but now he got angry. He snapped at the kids. He snapped at Kathy. Worse, he became obsessed with the fireplace. Every night, he had to light it, even when it wasn't that cold. Even when the fire burned all night, George said he still felt freezing inside. And remember 3:15 a.m.? Yeah. Every single night, George woke up at exactly 3:15 a.m. He would sit up in bed, wide awake, sweating, feeling like someone or something was calling him. Meanwhile, Kathy wasn't doing so well either. She started having terrible nightmares, dreams of evil faces, dreams of her kids getting hurt. She would wake up screaming, her heart pounding in her chest. One morning, Kathy found deep red scratches down her back. But George swore no one touched her. And the kids? They started talking about a new friend. Her name was Jody. But here's the thing. Nobody else could see Jody. Only the kids. Missy, the youngest daughter, said Jody was a pig with glowing red eyes. Yeah, a giant pig with red, shining eyes. One night, Kathy checked Missy's room. She saw Missy talking to something sitting in the corner. But when Kathy looked harder, there was nothing there, just darkness. The fear grew day by day. George and Kathy started fighting. The kids had nightmares every night. Even the walls seemed to groan when no one was touching them. Something was wrong. Very, very wrong. The Lutz family still tried to stay strong. They told themselves, it's just the stress of moving. It's just our imagination. But deep down, they knew. They were not alone. Something had already claimed the house, and it wasn't going to let them leave easily. And that, my friends, is just the beginning of their real nightmare. It started with the walls. The family would hear loud knocking sounds, sometimes behind the walls, sometimes under the floor. Bang, bang, bang. The noise would come and go, as if something, or someone, was crawling inside the house. George started seeing shadows out of the corner of his eyes. Tall, dark figures watching him. But when he turned, nothing was there. Kathy had it even worse. One night, she woke up screaming. George rushed to her side. She said something had touched her, pulled her hair, scratched her arms. When George turned on the light, he saw the red marks, deep and fresh, just like before. But now, there were more, and they were growing. In the kids' room, the windows would slam shut without warning. One time, the youngest, Missy, almost got her fingers caught. She cried and cried. She said Jody was angry, that Jody didn't want them to leave. Meanwhile, the smell in the house grew worse. Rotten meat, sewage, death. Even the priests that visited felt it. Yes, the Lutz family called a priest for help. The priest entered the house, swinging holy water, saying prayers. But he didn't get far. He heard a deep, growling voice right next to his ear, saying just one word: "Get out." The priest fled the house, terrified. Later, he developed blisters on his hands, just where he had held the holy water. George and Kathy tried to stay strong, but the house kept wearing them down. George's health started to fail. He lost weight. His skin turned pale. His eyes looked sunken. It was like the house was sucking the life out of him. At night, George would wake up, not just at 3:15 a.m. anymore, but sometimes he would find himself standing outside, in the cold, barefoot, staring at the boathouse. He didn't know how he got there. He didn't even remember walking outside. Kathy began seeing something even worse. A woman, old, ugly, with black eyes, floating above their bed. The woman reached out for her, and every time Kathy screamed, the figure would disappear into the ceiling. The furniture started moving by itself, chairs flipping over, doors slamming shut, the kitchen cabinets banging open and shut in the middle of the night. The mirrors cracked without being touched, crosses on the walls flipped upside down. One night, George found cloven hoof prints, hoof marks, in the snow outside. But here's the creepy part. There were no human footprints leading to them. No animal tracks, just hoof prints, as if something had appeared out of nowhere. By now, the Lutz family was at their breaking point. They were exhausted, terrified, trapped. But still, they stayed, because they couldn't afford to leave. They had spent everything they had to buy the house. Low, slow heartbeat sound, getting faster. Until one final night, the walls started bleeding. Actual red blood dripping down. The house shook, like it was alive. Voices screamed from inside the walls. Missy cried that Jody was in her room again. But this time, Jody wasn't friendly. Jody wanted to hurt her. George grabbed his family. They ran outside into the cold night, barefoot, without coats, without bags. They didn't care anymore. They just ran. They never spent another night in that house. After they left, the Lutz family never went back, not even to pack up their things. They moved into Kathy's mother's house for a while, but even there, the fear stayed with them. They had nightmares. Strange noises followed them. It was like a piece of the house had followed them. They reached out to priests again. They asked for more blessings, more prayers, but nothing felt the same. The fear was still inside them. Finally, the Lutz family agreed to tell their story to the world. They talked to a reporter. They shared everything. The cold spots, the bleeding walls, the ghostly pig Jody, the evil shadows. The story exploded. It was everywhere. Newspapers, magazines, TV shows. America was hooked. A book was written called The Amityville Horror. It became a bestseller. Later, movies were made. You've probably seen some of them too. But not everyone believed them. Some people said the Lutz family made it all up, that they were just trying to make money, that they were lying. But here's the thing. Investigators, paranormal experts, and even psychics came to the house. And guess what? Many of them felt something inside that house. Something cold. Something angry. Something dark. One famous team of ghost hunters, Ed and Lorraine Warren. You might know them from the Conjuring movies. They visited the house. Lorraine Warren, who was a psychic, said she felt an evil presence the moment she stepped inside. She said the house was filled with a demonic force. Not just one ghost, not just one spirit, but something ancient and hungry. They even caught strange photographs inside the house. One of them showed a ghostly boy peeking out from a doorway. Skeptics tried to explain things away. They said the cold spots were just bad heating. The smells were from old pipes. The noises were the house settling. But could bad plumbing cause red scratches on people's skin? Could old pipes cause doors to slam by themselves? Could a settling house whisper in your ear to get out? Years later, new families moved into the house. And you know what's really weird? Some said they felt nothing strange. They lived happy lives. No ghosts, no bleeding walls. But others? They said at night they would hear footsteps upstairs when no one was there, or doors would unlock by themselves. The address of the house was even changed from 112 Ocean Avenue to a different number. The hope was to hide the house from curious people, to protect the new owners. But it didn't work. Even today, fans, ghost hunters, and thrill seekers visit Amityville, New York. They stand outside the house. They stare at those famous quarter-moon windows, the ones that look almost like evil eyes. And you know what's the scariest part, Basement 13 family? Nobody truly knows the full truth. Did the Lutz family experience a real haunting? Were they victims of an evil force? Or was it all a mix of terror, tragedy, and imagination? Maybe the house really was cursed. Maybe it fed off the horror of the murders that happened there before. Or maybe evil never really leaves. It just waits for the next family, for the next night, for the next soul to whisper to, "Get out." And that's it for today's spooky journey. Basement 13 family. Man, what a wild, creepy ride it was, right? The Amityville Horror. It's one of those stories that stays with you, makes you look over your shoulder just a little bit more. If you loved this story, if you felt even a tiny chill down your spine, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We have so many more scary tales coming your way. Real ones, terrifying ones. Basement 13 is just getting started. We would also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Tell us what kind of horror stories you want us to cover next. Haunted houses, creepy ghost towns, unsolved mysteries, demonic possessions. We're listening, and trust me, we've got a full basement packed with spooky stories ready to jump out. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for being brave. And thank you for stepping into the shadows with Basement 13. Until next time, stay curious, stay spooky, and don't look behind you.